Welcome back to Western Sports Roundup. It's time now for our Justin Sports Medicine Team Report, as is always the case on Friday, as we welcome you right back here into the Justin Boots Studios here at the Cowboy Channel. And we have a very special guest here, a young man that I've known his entire life, watched him grow up, watched him progress to the ranks of professional rodeo, and it's an honor to have him standing beside me. We've already during the break got the conversation started, so we'll let you join in right now. My good friend Brett Custer joins us, and you come from a very well-known, respected rodeo family that goes back for generations. Your dad is world champion and now Hall of Famer, yes, Cody Custer, and of course Uncle Jim Bob. He'd be upset if I didn't mention him right now.
Yeah.
So at any rate, you have had your share of injuries. As we're talking about Justin Sports Medicine, today we're going to talk and focus on the Justin Cowboy Crisis Fund. This is one of the brightest lights in a very dark time for a contestant. Yeah. And I know you've had several injuries. We're going to talk about that as we go along. But the Justin Cowboy Crisis Fund came along at the right time to help you out in time of need.
Yes, sir. Yep. I've used it a couple times. I blew my knee out last year, had to have surgery on it, spent 9 months at home, and for 7 of them, they were paying me for my living expenses because I wasn't able to work and just keeping me on my feet, you know, and then got released. 4.5 weeks later, boom, bust my shoulder, have surgery, have to reapply to them, and they got my application in and they said, you know, it's not common it's pretty common for guys to something like that to happen, you know, apply for it a couple times, but I got applied for it, and you know, it's keeping me on my feet right now. You know, I've had a little rough go the last year, and I wouldn't be able to be staying afloat without the crisis fund. So,
you know, there's about 1,300 cases that have the same testimony that you do. I mean, it got them through the worst times and got you over the hump and just made it where you could survive. But I want to go back and talk about some of your specific injuries, because this is just an extraordinary case. And I was kidding him. I said, you won't be offended if I call you the poster child for the Justin Cowboy Crisis Fund, because you've had 5 or 6 major injuries over the last 3 years.
Yes, sir. I had a little rough, my permit year, I was doing really well, was sitting pretty high in the Prairie Circuit going into the finals, and blew my knee out the weekend before. I didn't end up having surgery or anything, but come back around, rookie year, I'm doing really well. I catch fire, I'm 20th in the world, bust my jaw at Cheyenne, sat out for a month and a half, and then circle back around April of the next year, blow my other knee out, sit out a few months, circle back, Cheyenne rolls around again. I ended up shattering part of my face right here. Didn't end up having to have any facial reconstruction or anything, just wired shut, but came back from that and then busted my knee again and ended up having surgery on it. So
in between these rodeos, what you got to know is that he would come back like for 1 or 2 and then have these major injuries. When I'm talking about 5 major injuries in 3 years, that's what happened. And then you came back just, 2 rodeos and got your shoulder.
Yep, I went to Athens and Helotes this year. I was released for a month and a half from my knee injury and ended up busting my shoulder. I dislocated it and had to have some work done on it so I get to sit at home for another 6 months, but it won't be too rough on me since I got them to help me out, the crisis fund. So.
Well, you were doing very good. In 2018, you actually won the Prairie Circuit Finals. You went to the Ram National Circuit Finals representing the Prairie Circuit. There was a small window there. And I said, was that the year you were injury-free? No, that was the year you broke your jaw.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, you just was able to hustle back in a short period of time, ride very well. So I know you're anxious to get back on the trail. The thing that's kind of ironic about this story is that one of the biggest fundraisers in the history of this wonderful program that's raised $9.1 million is your mom and Tracy Hedeman. Your mom, Stacy Custer, and Tracy Hedeman have been the organizers for a big luncheon during the National Finals Rodeo every year for almost 4 decades. And out of the $9 million, that luncheon has raised about 1/3 of all of that money. That's a huge contributor. So that just begs the question, what was your mom's reaction when you applied for the Justin Cowboy Crisis Fund?
Well, she knew that it would be a good thing for me to apply to. I didn't never take advantage of it with any of my other injuries until my knee surgery last year, just because they weren't very time consuming, and I was able to still do some work and stuff. But
Good for you.
she, after my second one, I popped back and had to have surgery again, and she joked. She said, "Man, they're gonna think I'm raising all this money for you." So, no, I've gone to that luncheon every year since I've been born. Almost every year I've been to the finals.
Well, let me back up. She was raising money 20 years before you were even born for this program.
Yeah, she's been doing it for a long time, and I've grown up watching her have to set that up, calling ladies to come model for her, getting everything set up, and it's a year-round thing. She's on the phone with people about it in January for the following year, and it's pretty neat to watch her do that because she takes it real serious and gets to help out people.
It's a seriously awesome program that's helped so many people. Matter of fact, 100% of all the donations go right to help out these athletes who need some help paying some of their expenses just so they can get by, paying that rent, paying that electric. Here's how you can be a part. Text JCCF to 243-725 to donate. And we encourage you to consider that. This is the other way you can do it. You can do it online at justincowboycrisisfund.org. You can do it the old-fashioned way, by mail, or there's the text information again. And something that a lot of us take advantage of is an opportunity to, when we make a memorial to someone who has passed. This is a great fun. If you love the cowboy way of life, if you love the rodeo or Western industry, and by the way, you don't have to be a member of the PRCA or the WPRA to even apply for the benefits here. But anybody can donate, and they do make an incredible memorial gift, especially if that loved one that passed enjoyed rodeo or the cowboy lifestyle. I know there's some great examples. We could go on the rest of this show about some great examples. I was talking to Tom Feller, who is with Justin Boot Company, earlier about a new van. Young man, Julian Witcher, was actually injured and paralyzed. They got him a wheelchair accessible van here lately, and those are some really monumental things. I got to point out something else I learned from Tom Feller before we got started. I don't think you knew this either, but Jim Shoulders, the 16-time world champion from the 50s and 60s, actually gave this idea to Mr. John Justin, and he said, "Hey, you got this sports medicine program." He called it the Sissy Room, I learned. "You need to get a program that'll help these contestants after these injuries or got them laid off pay some of those living expenses." Did you know that, in fact?
I didn't either till Tom told the story earlier.
Well, listen, we know that you moved to Stephenville, Texas, so you can be close to a rehab facility.
Yes, sir.
That you have had a chance to get acquainted with over the last couple of years.
Yep.
And we hope that that's going to get you headed the right direction.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It should.
All right. Well, we appreciate you. Thanks for sharing your story.
Yes, sir.
And
Thanks for having me.
We just wish you the best, and we're so thankful for your family, and we're really thankful for the Justin Cowboy Crisis Fund.